तस्मै नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome to the Nectar of Instruction discussion. This is practically a Bhakti Shastri study of the Nectar of Instruction, and up till now we have completed text 1 and 2. So today we will go to text 3. I'll recite. Utsaha nishchaya dhairyat tat karma pravartanat sangatyaga sato vrittehe षड्भिर भक्ति प्रसीदति। उत्साह निश्चया धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात् सतो वृत्तिः षड्भिर्भक्ति प्रसीदति। उत्साह निश्चया धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात् सतो वृत्तिः षड्भिर्भक्ति प्रसीदति। Anyone would like to recite? Raise your hands. Who would like to try? Jitendra Khatri Prabhuji. Yes.
उत्साह निश्चया धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संग त्यागात् सतो वृत्ते षड्भिर्भक्ति प्रसीद्यते।
संग त्यागात् सतो वृत्तेः षड्भिर्भक्ति. Here there is a visarga, but it is half recited. Here the visarga is at the end. It should come clearly. Vrittehe षड्भिर्भक्ति prasidati. Not bhakti, bhakti. You know. So like that, you know, the her stops. The her stops. You know, visarga.
Okay.
It comes with practice. Okay, Priya Mataji.
उत्साह निश्चय धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात् सतो वृत्ते षड्वीर भक्ति प्रसिद्ध्यति.
Shadbhir bhakti prasidati. And it is Utsahan. 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 The I is here Dirgha, and here also it is Dirgha. Utsahan. Nishchayad. Dhairyat. This is also Dirgha. This is also Dirgha. That's how we'll have to learn this little bit pronunciation technique, and it will come with practice. That will purify our consciousness also. Shubha Ikshana Krishna Prabhuji.
उत्साहान् निश्चयाद्धैर्यात् तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगत्यागात् सतो वृत्तेः षड्भिर्भक्तिः प्रसिद्ध्यति.
Excellent. I think after the third instruction for the first two, the third one came out excellent. Very nice. Okay, let's go to the translation. There are 6 principles favorable for the execution of pure devotional service. Please remember, Prabhupada is using the term here, pure devotional service. Please mark this. If somebody is practicing pure devotional service, he is always enthusiastic. Whatever misery comes in his life or whatever happens in his life, his enthusiasm is very, very steady. That is the sign of that person that he is practicing pure devotional service. So it's enthusiasm is the first principle which Rupa Goswami is mentioning as a sign of pure devotion. If the enthusiasm is up and down going means that devotion is not pure. Simple. So these are the 6 principles: being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to the regulative principles, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Prabhupada is inserting here in the square brackets, hearing, chanting, and remembering. So he's making it clear. Tat tat karma pravarnat means acting according to the regulative principles of bhakti. Bhakti means bhakti angas. The angas of bhakti are Navvida bhakti. So Prabhupada is quoting that. That's why he's putting it in the square bracket. The verse itself is not defining it, but Prabhupada is explaining it. That's why he puts it in the square bracket. Abandoning the association of non-devotees, Sangha Tyagat. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, Sato Vritti or Sadhu Vritti it is called. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Shadbir Bhaktir Siddhati means success. Prasiddhati means complete, undoubtedly assure complete success. Pra is again a prefix here. Prakrisht Rupena Siddhati. That's what Prabhupada, that's what not just says success in pure devotional service, complete success in pure devotional service. Now let's again go to just a minute. There is some. So let's come to again Bhaktivinoda Thakur's analysis of the verses of Updeshamrit. So we saw text 1 speaks about Tridandi Swamir Lakshan and Atma Sanyam or self-control Madhyamadhikari symptoms. Text 2, 3 and 4 speak about the Madhyamadhyadhikari Goswami's external dealings and bhakti rules. What are the bhakti pratikul shadgun and what are the bhakti anukul shadgun? Just like in Sharanagati, there is anukulyasa sankalpa, pratikulyasa varjanam. So what are the 6 unfavorable items which destroy one devotion? And what are the 6 favorable items which ensure the complete success in pure devotional service? So these are what Rupa Goswami is quoting here. And then there are the Shadvida Priti Lakshanam. This is the Madhyamadhikari only can, actually reciprocate with the Uttama Adhikari and the Kanishtas. Now, please try to understand the flow happening in Rupa Goswami's Updeshamrit. Updeshamrit began with, actually, in one sense, the definition of pure devotion service, especially Narad Panchratra Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam Tatpartvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Rupa Goswami is speaking about here in the Updeshamrit about these Vegas and how by the practice of bhakti, of engaging these Vegas in the service of the Lord, one can control these Vegas. So that's what the inner hidden meaning is of this first verse, which the Acharyas and Prabhupada brings out. That's why Prabhupada speaks about the practice of bhakti in the first chapter and how one should regulate these six urges, pacification of the six urges by bhakti. So these are the conditional, faults, but there are the constitutional faults. And in order to become free from the conditional faults, you work on the constitutional faults, which are atyahara, prayasa, prajalpa, niyamagra, janasanga, and laulyam. Because if you work on the constitutional faults, then automatically conditional faults will be taken care. I hope you're getting this point. And in order to get rid of the constitutional faults, you work on the constitutional good qualities. That is why the Bhakti Anukul Shadgun. Constitutionally, the soul should engage in Shuddha Bhakti. By engaging in Shuddha Bhakti, he will become free from the constitutional fault of Atyahar. So that's how the flow in the Updeshamrit is proceeding from first verse to the second verse to the third verse. I hope you got it. And if you have any questions, you're free to raise your hand. Now, Srila Prabhupada's purport is divided into these different sections. There are 18 paragraphs. This paragraph numbering is done as per the Veda base. Paragraphs 1 to 4 speak about the process of bhakti. And then, having defined what is pure bhakti, what is bhakti, then Prabhupada goes into Utsaha, paragraph 5 and 6. Nishchay and Dhairyat he deals in paragraph 8 only. And Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat he deals in paragraph 9. Sanga Tyagat, paragraph 10. Sato Vritti or Sadhu Vritti in paragraph 11. And paragraphs 12 to 17, Prabhupada speaks about the Anuvritti explanation of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And paragraph 18 is the conclusion of the entire purport. So that is how you can have your notebook, your textbooks of the Updeshamrit view with yourself, and you can note down these. Of course, I'll be sharing the slides also with you. Okay, so now let's begin with Prabhupada's purport. I don't know, some technical problem the Zoom is giving. Prabhupada begins his purport by defining what is devotional service. First, he defines what is not devotional service, and then he defines what it is. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Beautifully, Prabhupada brings out. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Sentimental speculation means, I feel like this, it might be like this, it might be like that. I am feeling love for the Lord. Once I got down from a local train in Bombay, Grant Road, and I was supposed to take a taxi to the temple, that is Girgaon Chopati. And suddenly a person came in the taxi and told, Prabhuji, please sit. I am also a devotee, Hare Krishna devotee. Please sit. I am going near the temple. I'll drop you. Actually, he was not a devotee connected to our movement, but he assumed himself. And then I sat and I said, he started speaking that I love Krishna, I love him very much. And I asked, do you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? He said, no, I don't chant. but I just love Krishna. Do you follow any regulative principles? No, I don't follow any regulative principles. So this kind of sentimental speculation, will not do. It's not bhakti. It is not devotional service. And what is imaginative ecstasy? Imaginative ecstasy is, maybe I can give you two examples to understand this. First is, in the ashram, we know that you have to follow the rules and regulations. In fact, for this person I mentioned, that if you love God or love Krishna, then love means to follow what the lover says. And he has given his instructions in the Gita. So if you're following the teachings of Gita, that is the sign of love. If you're not following, what Krishna is saying in the Gita, and you're doing whatever you feel like, then that is not love. It is actually demonic in one sense. Tasmat shastram vidim vusтрajya vartate kamakarata. Na siddhim avapnoti, na sukham, na param gatim, Krishna says. You know. So, imaginative ecstasy. In the morning, the devotees in the ashram wake you up. Get up, get up. It's time for Mangalarti. And you say, today I will not come for Mangalarti. You woke me up and broke my, dream. Actually, I was in the dream meditating about Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna had come in my dream and I was serving them in some kunja. And, and I was, uh, I was making a garland and suddenly you woke me up, you broke my meditation. You broke my sleep. Actually, I was in deep meditation. Please go. I am, I'm experienced bliss in this. So this kind of, imagination is all imaginative ecstasy. And this is also a sign of surgism. And sometimes one tries to imitate these advanced stages without having the adhikar. Or one of the sannyasis was mentioning somewhere in US, in some temple, he was giving a class. And a person came, entered, and he was sitting in the backside. And after the class, he met this sannyasi. He said, I'm your neighbor, and I sometimes do come to your temple and visit. And then he mentioned yesterday how he had gone to this particular place in the US near the beach. And whole evening he had disco, dance, night 1 o'clock. They returned, and all that was such a wonderful spiritual experience. So because he was staying near the temple and all his activities, what he was doing, nonsensical activities, he was saying that it is spiritual experience. The experience, the happiness he was experiencing, it's all imaginative ecstasy. So Prabhupada is, hammering both these sides. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation nor imaginative. Its substance is practical activity. And then Prabhupada goes on to define. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.1.11 has defined devotional service as follows. Anyabilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulena krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktiruttama. Uttama Bhakti or unalloyed devotion under the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. Uttama Bhakti, unalloyed devotion, Bhaktiruttama, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Krishnanu involves the rendering of devotional Shilanam. Shilanam is rendering devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. Anukulena. So this is just a brief translation of this verse. I'm just actually giving this definition of Uttama Bhakti from the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Anya Bilashita Shunyam Dhyana Karmadyanavritam Anukulena Krishnanu Shilanam bhaktiruttama. The highest bhakti is defined as continuous service or emotions, anushilanam, directed towards Krishna, his expansion forms or others related to Krishna means Krishna, his expansions like Vishnu, Matsya, all that is bhakti. And even to devotion to Guru, to cows, all that. With a pleasing attitude towards Krishna, anukulena. Anukulena means a pleasing. The action is done with the attitude to please Krishna. It should be done devoid of desires other than the desire to please the Lord. Anya abhilashita shunyam. It should have no other desire other than the desire to please. And unobstructed by impersonal jnana, the materialistic rituals of karma or other unfavorable acts. Jnana karmandya anavritam. Of course, time doesn't permit us to go into this definition and the explanation of this entire verse because Rupa Goswami, followed by the commentators Jiva Goswami, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, uh, deeply analyze this verse. Every word, what is Sheila, what is, Krishna, what is Anu, what is Anukulena, what is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, what is Jnana Karmadya Anavritam. So they analyze this, and that will itself require some 5 classes. So we will not go into it, but we will stick to what Prabhupada is mentioning here in the purport. And Prabhupada is focusing on one particular term here. That is, he has mentioned it very clear, practical activity. And here in the verse, where it is referring, which particular word is referring to practical activity? Anyone who can try? What it is? Practical activities, what? Anukulena, Krishnanu, Shilanam, Gyan Karma, Dhyanavritam, Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Which word is practical activity? Anyone? Anyone who will try? Practical activity. Where is practical activity defined here in this verse? Shubha Ikshana Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhu anukulena Krishnanu.
Anukulena Krishnanu. Okay. Chakra Rama Prabhuji.
Prabhu- Prabhuji, it's a bhakti, Bashilan Bhakti Rattama.
There's only
Bhakti is a
one
practical
term.
devotion. Bhakti is a practical devotion.
Bhakti is a practical devotion. Okay. Priya Mataji.
Anushilanam.
Anushilanam. Exactly right. Prabhupada is focusing on Anushilanam. Continuous service here. Devotional service. Service means continuous service. That is bhakti. That is defined as bhakti. So Prabhupada is focusing on Anushilanam here. So here, Prabhupada focuses on that. So we will just keep our focus on that. Thus, devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruitive karma, impulsive gain, and all other selfish desires. So this is part of the definition of, the Anya Bilashita Shunyam verse. Actually, this should not come here. This is a complete, no, I don't know, somehow while should be part of the definition. This is Jnana Karma Dhanavritam. That's all. Okay. Now, Prabhupada is focusing on, practical activity, which is Anushinam. Prabhupada speaks about it, so I'll stick to that. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we see cultivation, we must refer to activity. Means you have to do some activity for pleasing Krishna. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service, and for this reason, it is sometimes recommended as a way to check distracting material activities. So some people do a lot of material activities, which becomes a disturbance. Better to, tell them to go into meditation, and at least those nonsensical activities will stop. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. So that's what meditation is. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to all nonsensical mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. That's how Prabhupada is defining devotional service. So there I have put bhakti is sort of a cultivation. Cultivation means activity. So there are three types of activities. There is the negative aspect, which is material activities, which leads to suffering. There's a neutral aspect, which is the ideal meditation, stop of nonsensical activities that lead to suffering. And there are positive activities, which is devotional activities. That is meaningful devotional activities that lead to spiritual world. So Prabhupada is, bringing from the ideal to the positive, and he will also, negating the material aspect. Okay, now after speaking about the defining bhakti as pure devotional service, now he mentions that he has cultivation of activity. So now he goes to reference from the Bhagavatam, where bhakti means cultivation of hearing and chanting. So he quotes this 7.5.23. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. The 9 processes of devotional service are as follows. Hearing the name and the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chanting His glories, remembering the Lord, serving the Lord's feet, worshipping the deity, offering obeisances unto the Lord, acting as the Lord's servant, making friends with the Lord, surrendering oneself fully to the Lord. So activity means doing all these activities. That is Bhaktir Uttama. That is defining bhakti. So that's how Prabhupada connects the Anya Abhilashitam Shunyam to the Prahlad Maharaj verse on the Navvida Bhakti. There is activities. So when we do these activities, these are devotional activities. Okay. So before we proceed ahead, any questions up till now? Any questions, any clarifications you have? No. Okay. So let's go ahead. Shravanam or hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. One should not give oral reception to unauthorized persons, but should approach the proper person as recommended in the Bhagavad Gita. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from submissively, and render service to him. So one has to approach a spiritual master who is coming in the Guru Shish Parampara. That is already there in the Bhagavad Gita 4.2 Evam Parampara Praptam. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has trained the truth. Now again, something is part of the translation of this verse only. Okay. And then Prabhupada quotes another verse. It is further recommended in the Mandukya Upanishads, Tad Vijnanartam Sa Gurum Eva Vigachet. If one wants to attain transcendental knowledge, Vijnana Artham, Sa, that person, Gurum, has to surrender to the spirit. Eva means certainly, Abhigachet, one has to go and approach a spiritual. This is from the Mandukya Upanishads. To understand that transcendental knowledge, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, this method of submissively receiving transcendental confidential knowledge is not barely based on mental speculation. In this regard, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami, Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Ajiv Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. In the course of traversing the universal creation of Brahma, some fortunate soul may receive the seed of Bhakti Lata, the creeper of daily service. This is all by the grace of Guru and Krishna. So we can see that Prabhupada has quoted 3 verses about Shravanam, that one has to hear transcendental knowledge, and to hear means to hear from a bona fide Guru. And he has quoted 4.34, the Smriti Praman he has quoted. He has quoted a Shruti Praman from the Shrutis, from the Upanishads. And then he has quoted from the Gaudiya Shastra. Gaudiya Praman he has given. Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. He has to. So 3 references he is giving. The material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature Anandamaya, pleasure seeking. So Prabhupada is now further explaining this verse, Brahmande Brahmite. Brahmite means to wonder. And the Jiva, he's been wandering in this universe from one species to another species, in these 84 lakh varieties species, right from the highest planet, Satyalok, to the lowest planet in the hellish regions. He is wandering. And he is wandering from one species to another species. He is wandering from one universe to another universe. Sometimes in the hellish planet, sometimes in the earthly planet, sometimes in the heavenly planet, sometimes in the upper planets. And he's sometimes wandering from one universe to another universe. Because, once the universes are annihilated, again, all the jivas go back in the body of Brahma. Sorry, not in the body of Brahma, body of Mahavishnu. And then when Mahavishnu exhales, again the Brahmandas come out. So again in one of the Brahmandas, this jiva goes. So Kono Bhagyavan here means not by luck or fortune. It is somehow by the mercy of Krishna, who is seated in the heart, sees that he is looking for me, he is searching for me. So Krishna, who is seated in this heart, directs the Guru, who is directly a representative of Krishna, please go to this person and give your darshan. So Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. So by the arrangement of the Lord and the spiritual master, he comes in touch with a bona fide spiritual master. So one has to come in touch with a bona fide spiritual master and receive this transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, in the name of spirituality, all over the world today, it's only cheating going on. Because first thing is, you have to be bona fide coming in the Guru Shish Parampara of any of these 4 sampradayas. If you're not coming in the 4 sampradayas, then sampradaya vihina mantrastu nishpala. All your knowledge is completely a waste of time. Nishpala, the mantra, whatever you receive. So that's the point here. So we are wondering, they actually want to be free from the confinement of this world of conditional happiness, but not knowing the process of liberation, they are bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. In this way, the living entities are wandering throughout the material universe. I mentioned how they are wandering. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Ishwar Sarvabhutanam Riddesha Ardhana Tushruti Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudayani Maya. The Ishwar as the Paramatma is situated in the heart of every living being. Ishwara Sarvabhutanam Riddesha Arjuna Tushruti Brahmayan. Brahmayan means the Jiva is wandering. The Jiva, according to his karma, wants to go to Goa. So, he, according to his karma, he comes to Goa. Somebody wants to go to America. So Paramatma sees whether he has the karma to go to America and he sanctions it, Upadrashtacha, Anumantacha, and then he lands up in America. He's wondering like this. But somebody who's sincere, who's searching for Krishna, Then Krishna recognizes that, and then he'll direct the spiritual master, you please come and give darshan because he's looking for me. So like that, not by our own efforts, we meet the spiritual master. It is by the mercy of Krishna and the mercy of Guru. And the mercy of the Guru is not different from the mercy of Krishna. When by good fortune one comes in contact with a pure devotee, Prabhupada is saying, and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of devotional service. So, Prabhupada, started this paragraph, his commentary on the definition of pure devotional service, that it is not a sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy, but its substance is practical activity. And then he quotes Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Anya Bilashata Shunyam. And then he quotes the Navvida Bhakti from Shravanam Kirtanam. And this bhakti has to be heard from a bona fide spiritual master. That's why he quotes Tadvidi Pradipatena from the Bhagavad Gita, Tad Vijnanartham from the Manduk Upanishads, and then Brahmande. Now, this bhakti, which we get by the mercy of Guru and Krishna from a pure devotee, this bhakti we should accept with enthusiasm. So that's how now he connects the whole thing with utsaha. Such an opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere. International Society for Krishna Consciousness is giving such a chance to humanity at large. This is the compassionate nature of Prabhupada. Prabhupada's compassion of his heart is spread throughout this entire world now. And how you can understand it is spread throughout this world? By the way ISKCON is spread throughout this world. It is giving a chance to everyone to receive this great opportunity. If by fortune one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service, the path of liberation immediately opens. The path becomes open, but one has to walk along the path. One should accept this opportunity to return home, back to Godhead, very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. So one should receive this Bhakti Lata Bij from the spiritual master, and he should be very enthusiastic that I will, attain the success of my life, the goal of my life, to attain Krishna Prem. So one should practice bhakti with enthusiasm. That's what is, Prabhupada connecting the first 4 paragraphs with this 5th paragraph on utsaha. Even in the material world, one has to be very enthusiastic in his particular field of activity in order to become successful. A student, businessman, artist, or anyone else who wants success in his line must be very enthusiastic. Similarly, one has to be very enthusiastic in devotional service. Enthusiasm means action, but action for whom? Actually, when we have enthusiasm means, actually the English equivalent of enthusiasm is, a better term is love. And love means action. The mother says to the child, I love you, my child. But she doesn't serve, she doesn't cook for him, she doesn't, uh, tell stories to him, she doesn't make him sleep. So how is that love which is there, which the mother is saying, is expressed through her actions? So similarly, bhakti means pure love. Bhakti means pure love. And that means practical activity, that means devotional activity. So I heard once in one Bhagavatam class, a Western devotee was giving this class. He mentioned of a true incident of a captain of a ship who was there in the vessel, a ship vessel which was in the ocean. And suddenly, this is a true story, the pirates are gang or robbers who attack ships and loot the ships. They're called as pirates. So they attacked and they were ruthless. They took control over the entire ship and they started killing the people. And, they also caught hold of the captain. And this all was recorded and it was sent to the US, because it was a US ship. And they were demanding something. And at last, when that demand was not fulfilled, they had kept their gun on the captain's head, and, you know, they just, they recorded this whole thing and they just fired bullets in his head, And just before, the bullets were fired, this captain called out loudly. He said, Rose, Rose, Rose. And the bullets were falling, tat, 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 and he was killed. And this video went viral in the US, and everyone was wondering, who is this captain who said Rose, Rose? Who is Rose? Actually, Rose was the name of his wife. And, when everyone came to know, they said, how wonderful this captain was. At the time of death, he remembered his wife. So, this captain became very famous later on because on his graveyard, people started getting an actual rose and started offering it. How great you offered, you remembered your wife at the time of death. So because this captain had love for his wife, he remembered his wife at the time of death. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajantante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. So I was saying that enthusiasm means love and love means action. And that's why love means love for whom? Krishna. So that's how Prabhupada answers. The answer is that one should always act for Krishna. Krishna arte akila cheshta. So Prabhupada is quoting from the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Krishna arte akila cheshta. Okay. Let me see. Okay, we have time, but up till now, any questions, any clarifications anyone has? Prabhupada has defined now how one very enthusiastic to receive this Bhakti Lata Beach, and one should have faith that I will attain success. If he has to receive this path of bhakti, after wandering in millions of universes, you have got this chance. So you should accept this opportunity with great enthusiasm. And enthusiasm means you have to act, action. Action means our love of object is Krishna. So Krishna Artha Akila Cheshta. So that's how you can see the flow which is happening in the commentary of Srila Prabhupada. Rajat Shai Prabhuji, you have a question? Yes.
But enthusiasm comes in more.
No, your audio is not at all clear. You have to speak,
Voice is
keeping the mic near you.
Any voice is okay. One question: enthusiasm comes in which mode?
No. Please record your question.
Can I
And
type?
send it in the WhatsApp. You'll
Can I
have to
type?
put in a setup where you have this audio
Can
very
I
clear.
can I type?
Okay. So yeah. So then now let's continue. After Prabhupada mentions about we should do action for Krishna. Now he defines how one should perform these action. In order to attain perfection in Bhakti Yoga, one has to perform devotional activities. We have to do action for Krishna, but under the direction of the spiritual master in all phases of life. Not that in some phases of life I do some other activities and in some phases I do devotional activities. All phases of life one should do devotional activities. It is not that one has to confine or narrows one activities. Krishna is all pervading. Maya tadam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Yeah, Prabhupada quotes. Therefore, nothing is independent of Krishna, as Krishna himself states in the Bhagavad Gita. Maya tadam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matstani sarvabhutani na chaham teshu avasthita. By me, Maya, by my unmanifested form, avyakta murtina, this entire universe is pervaded. Tadam idam saram jagat. All beings are in me. Matstani sarvabhutani. But I am not in them. Na chaham teshu avasthita. So all living beings are in me means in the form of his Paramatma feature. But in his Bhagwan feature, he is there in Golok Vrindavan. So that's what it means. And this Maya Tadam Idam Sarvam Jagat Avyaktamurtina is the Brahman feature, all pervading. So Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. You can narrate, you can connect like that. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual, one has to make everything favorable for Krishna's service. Now Prabhupada starts giving. One should do Krishna Akila Cheshta. And he has to do in all phases. And Krishna is all pervading. Okay? Krishna is all pervading. And one need not confine or narrow his activities because Krishna is all pervading. So now he gives one, that aspect of all pervadingness. He is giving the example of a dictaphone. For example, at present we are using a dictaphone. The materialists have invented this machine, intended it for businessmen or writers for mundane subject matters. He certainly never thought of using the dictaphone in God's service. But we are using this dictaphone to write Krishna conscious literature. Of course, the manufacture of the dictaphone is wholly within the energy of Krishna. All the parts of the instrument, including the electronic functions, are made from different combinations and interactions of the 5 basic types of material energy, namely Bhumi, Jala, Agni, Vayu, Akash. So, Krishna, Maya Tadam Idam, is all pervading. How? Through 7.4. Bhumirapo analo Vayu, Kham manor buddhirev cha, Ahankar iti amme, Bhinna prakritirashtada. So Krishna is all pervading through his material energy, right? So that's what Prabhupada is quoting. The inventor has used his brain to make this complicated machine, and his brain as well as the ingredients were supplied by Krishna. So this material energy is made of 24 elements, Man, Buddhi and Ahankar. And there are his energies. So the intelligence given to the scientist is also Dadami Buddhi Yogamtam. Because he is doing bhajan of material energy, Yetamam Prabhadate, Krishna will reveal him in that form. He'll reveal him atom and waves. If you want to reveal, Krishna wants him to reveal himself, then he'll have to practice bhakti. According to the statement of Krishna, Matsani Sarvabhutani, everything is dependent on my energy. Thus, the devotee can understand that since nothing is independent of Krishna's energy, everything should be devoted in his energy. Everything can be devoted in Krishna's energy. Now, this statement has to be very carefully understood. Now, we all know that one of the regulative principle is, no intoxication. We should not take any alcohol. But can alcohol be used in Krishna's service? What do you think? Yes or no? If it is yes, why? If it is no, why? Raise your hands. Anyone? Radha Sai Prabhuji, your audio is not clear, so we cannot take up. You can type the answer. Yes, you can type. Anyone else? Anyone else? Chakrarama Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna. as you said that alcohol is used in perfume. We do
Pardon?
use it. Alcohol
Hmm.
is used in perfume for the Lord. Perfume is used for the Lord, and we take the ganda also as a
Perfume,
prasad.
still it will be an intoxicant when you inhale it.
And alcohol is used in antiseptic also as
Yes, that
medicine.
is where the application of alcohol can come. Otherwise, in a general sense, we cannot use it. So, I remember many years back, one of proper disciple, very, very famous, Vaisheshika Prabhu, who is also a Diksha Guru. He was distributing book on the street, and there was a person who was smoking, and he had his lighter. And, Maharaj, Vaisheshika Maharaj was, you know, trying to, convince him to take one book, but he was very much attached to smoking and he was not ready to give the donation. So then he asked him, "Can you give me a lighter?" And actually, he was very attached to the lighter because that helps him in smoking. So he agreed for that. And he gave a small book and he took the lighter. And Vaisheshika got the lighter and he said that this lighter, this person was using in doing this nonsensical activity of smoking. But now I'll use it in Krishna service by using it to light the agarbatti. So now, because this thing has been used in service of Krishna, he will get that benefit. And one of his attachment is cut. So he'll come now closer to Krishna. So that is how a broad vision one should have. One should have a very broad vision. One should not confine or narrow one's activities. One should have a very broad vision understanding this philosophy. So that's what I wanted to mention. And that's why Prabhupada, yeah, Rajat Sai said, no, Prabhuji, it is against four regulative principles, but we explained how it can be used. It is an art for us to understand. And that comes with maturity also. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha or enthusiasm. What a brilliant definition by Prabhupada. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha. Initially, we have utsaha. We endeavor, we execute an endeavor, but without intelligence because of the mode of passion. We do it in Krishna consciousness. If you remember that chart which I showed you, action in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Action in the mode of passion is when we first act and then we think, oh, why did I do like this? In ignorance, neither we act or neither we think. But action in the mode of goodness is we first deliberate and then we act. That is in the mode of goodness. So this is the definition. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha or enthusiasm. The devotee finds the correct means by which everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. So here Prabhupada is defining what is yukta vairagya. You can use everything in the relationship to Lord, but you should be completely detached from that thing. Many times devotees say, Prabhuji, I bought a new car. I thought I'll use it for the service of Krishna, to come to the temples. And he has endeavored a lot to buy the car. And he comes, he does the puja of the car. And hardly once in 6 months he comes to the temple or once a month. If he's got a car, then every day he has to come to the Mangalarti. That is Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. But we are attached to having the car for our facility for so many other things. So, this is Yukta Vairagya. The execution of dual souls is not a matter of idle meditation, but is practical action in the foreground of spiritual life. Okay, so that completes Utsaha. So I will end here. And tomorrow we will discuss Dhairya, Nishchat, and the rest all remaining is very, very simple and clear. So tomorrow we'll discuss and complete this discussion. So any other questions, any other clarifications anyone else has? Chakra Rama Prabhuji has a question. Yes. Yes.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Uh, with full respect to all the acharyas and to our Srila Prabhupada also. See, in second stanza, it is saying that Bhagyavan Jeev by Bhakti Lata Beach, and he's getting the Guru also, and we are Tadvidi Pranipatana is there, and it is insisting on Anushilina Bhakti, means continuous Bhakti we are doing it. So if any person is doing it for a long period and constantly is doing it seriously, then he won't have time for Prajalpa. He won't have time to have Janasangas. He won't be greedy because he's totally devoted towards the devotional service continuously. That he might not need.
Chakramapuruji, I'm not able to hear clearly. And again, I would recommend that you can record your question very clearly and you send it to me, and then I will answer it and send it in the group. Because it's not at all clear what you're speaking, because there is distraction, quite a lot of distraction in your mic. So,
Fair enough, Prabhuji.
yeah, you just record
I'll
your
do that.
question very clearly and we will
Can
definitely.
I write it? Can I write it?
Well,
WhatsApp.
that will also take time. You can write your question and send it to me, and then I will
Okay, that'll be better.
think about it and then answer.
And that better. That'll be better.
Okay.
I will convey myself better.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we have discussed now, completed the discussion on Utsa. We saw how there are these six Vegas and how by the practice of connecting them to Bhakti, we can control these Vegas. These are conditional faults. But to become free from the conditional faults, work on the constitutional faults, these six faults, Atyahara, Prayasasya, and work on the constitutional qualities by which you can become free from the constitutional faults as well as the conditional faults. So the six things are being discussed, and that's how Prabhupada discusses Utsaha. Prabhupada begins with what is devotional service, which is practical activity, not sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. And then he defines what is bhakti, and then he focuses on cultivation, anushilanam. And then we saw three types of cultivation: negative, neutral, positive, meaningful devotional services. And after explaining this, then how bhakti means to cultivate the angas of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. And these are these 9 processes, but we have to cultivate under a bona fide spiritual master. And then he quotes Bhagavad Gita 4.34 and then Mandukopanishads and Brahmande Mamite Kono Bhagavanji. One is fortunate wandering in this universe and he attains the Bhakti Lata Beach. And he should accept this process of bhakti with enthusiasm. Enthusiasm means action. Action means to whom? For Krishna. That is love. That is a sign of love. So Krishna Artha Kila Cheshta. So then he comes to the definition of Utsa. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called Utsa. So that's how he defines Utsa. So tomorrow we will continue and conclude the discussion on text 3 and then we will go to text 4. Thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki Jai. Hare Krishna.